Hey everyone, how's it going? Shuffle's back here with another video, and today we're going to do a couple of champion reviews. We do have a new banner coming out this weekend. Like we've been basically recently been rotating between 10x banners and 2x banners. So we have another 10x this weekend. We got Zilla 2, we got Nocturne, we have Dolores, Maul, and Ardeth. Yeah, Ardeth. Thought I got his name wrong there for a minute. But basically what that means is that the rates are normal rates, so 1 in 200 chance to get a legendary. If you happen to hit a legendary, then there's 10 out of the units in the pool, so if there's 30 legendaries, there's now 40 units in the pool, and 10 of them are Zillitu, actually 50. I'm butchering this, aren't I? Say there's 32 legendaries normally, and you have a 1 in 32 chance of hitting Zillitu. Now there's going to be 50, and it's going to be 10 out of 50 will be Zillitu, 10 out of 50 will be Nocturne, and the rest will be spread between the other legendaries. So that's basically how that works. Same with the epics, of course, but keep in mind that the epic rates are not very good. So if you're looking for specifically epics, now is the time. Like if you don't have a Dolores, now is the time to summon for Dolores because epic rates are never increased. So it's just whether you get an epic or not. In this case, your rates to get her will go up. I don't think I would summon specifically to get a Maul, but any of the other three, these top three, I think are all really good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Nocturne. We'll talk about him a little bit. But mainly we're going to focus on Zillitu and we're going to focus on Dolores. So this video is going to be on Dolores. Next video will be on Zillitu. Let's find my Dolores. So Dolores is known as potentially the best epic champion in the game. If not the best, then definitely the most valuable. And the reason being is purely because of her big buff that she gives with her ultimate. Applies 40% inspiration to other allies in range for 22 seconds. So what is inspiration? Increases attack proportionally to caster's attack. While this effect is active, other buffs affecting inspiration will not take effect. Additionally, a caster is immune to such buffs. So she can't buff herself, which is good because, well, I mean, it's not good for you, but it makes sense because it would just put her attack through the roof, and then this number would increase even more, and it would be ridiculous. So, if we're being completely honest, this is probably broken. This is not normally how this would work. Normally, it would be like a 40% attack buff, but it's 40% based on her attack. So you can just put her attack up through the roof, and the amount of attack buff you're giving your damage dealers just keeps going and going and going. The rest of her skills don't really matter, to be completely honest. She does have this passive, which is quite nice. 50 seconds after being deployed, permanently increases basic attacks, healing multiplier. I mean, she doesn't heal very much, but it's something. But the second part of it, graceful dancing will have a 50% chance to increase hero's rage by 300% when this ends. And that is very valuable because the more rage you get, the closer you are to being able to do your ultimate again, and the closer you can do your ultimate again, the more damage you're going to be able to output. Also, her awakenings are also very valuable. She is an option if you want to put awakening stones into her, because there aren't a lot of units to really put epic awakening stones into, other than the epic lords. But first one, effective graceful dancing increases by 20%. So obviously you really want that A1 to increase the amount of your attack buff. The HP is the second one. That gives her a little bit more survivability, which is good because she's an epic and she doesn't have the best survivability. During the effect of graceful dancing, increases healing multiplier by 10%. We don't really care about the third one. The fourth one is really nice. Attack percent by 5%, which is what her attack buff is based on. And then when graceful dancing ends, increases chance of increasing the rage to 80%, which means she's almost always going to increase her rage meter, which means you're going to have a better uptime on her skills. So, how do you want to gear her? Now, there's a few ways you can gear her. I'm going to show you the way I have her built. This is not very good gear. she's kind of difficult to gear in a really amazing way because you want attack speed, you want ideally rage regen. I have none, and you want a crazy amount of attack. You don't necessarily need attack speed, but the crazy amount of attack is the most important thing. So starting on the left side, you want ideally Warlord because it gives you the attack speed. And then you want as much attack as you can. So you want a good attack percent stat and ideally a flat attack stat with an attack speed stat and then some survivability. So this is a nice piece for her. Unfortunately, the rolls aren't very good. Um, Same thing here. Attack, a little healing effect is whatever. I don't really care about that. It's got some survivability. This piece could definitely be better. But you can kind of start seeing the problem in that a lot of units, like a lot of gear that drops doesn't roll very well unless it's ancient gear. And ancient gear, you're probably gonna want like you're gonna be getting like crit rate, crit damage on it, and she doesn't need crit rate or crit damage. So getting high rolls on these healer pieces is somewhat difficult. Moving over to the right side, for the longest time, I've tried her on many different sets. So um, for the longest time, I just had her on broken sets. Then I moved her over onto Glacier because Glacier, I don't have an attack piece handy. There we go. Glacier has gains attack equals 6% of max HP when deployed. Um, so I ran her on a triple Glacier set, which was nice because you get the attack bonus, and then whatever HP she has, it gives her more attack, which means she boosts attack more. That being said, specifically for Clan Boss, or if you can plan her deployment, Invigoration is really, really nice because it's automatically giving this 10% attack buff. So whenever she doesn't have her buff up, this attack buff is on them anyway. So it actually works really nicely. Um, so you can see I went with attack percent, with attack speed, and flat attack. That's basically all I was looking for. I didn't really care too much about HP on these pieces. I was looking for speed and flat attack with attack mean. So again, attack speed, flat attack. This one actually had HP on it, so this one's beautiful. This is perfect piece for her. And this one's okay. But you can see crit rate, crit damage. Like I don't need crit rate, crit damage on this. I need the flat attack. I would rather have speed with a better HP roll, but it's not great. It's not bad. Um, this piece here is quite frankly terrible, but I haven't found better. So work in progress. But you can see if we take a look at her total stats, she's at around 12k attack. Ideally, I'd like her over 12k, but I sacrificed a little bit in order to get her on Invigoration. And then in terms of attack speed, she's at 273, which brings her to a 1.3 attack interval, which is perfectly fine. You just don't want her to be like base speed. And then in terms of the artifact, I currently have her on Ancestral Teachings, reason being when there's any ally within 2 tiles increases attack by 16%. And generally, you're always going to be putting her within 2 tiles of an ally. Otherwise, why is she out there? So, good artifact. It is maxed in terms of its limit break. It's not maxed in terms of being maxed. You can get a little more attack out of that, but it'll only be a couple more. And I quite frankly don't have a mithril. So that is it for her gear and how to really build her. Actually, one more thing. I've seen a lot of people's accounts. They still have her at 5-star, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine. She's 5-star." But you have to remember her stats scale based on her level. Let's come down. Let's go to the gallery. So it's if you are a new player and you're delaying 6-starring her, I'm gonna recommend against it. Reason being is that she gets a huge jump in her attack based on her level. I don't know if it's going to let me show her 5-star stats. I don't think it does. Yeah, see. It shows her stats here. We have 263 base attack. That jumps up to 2,500. So you would guess it would be like maybe 1,500 at 5 star. Um, Maybe even 2,000. That is a huge jump. You really want to make sure that. I wish I had another copy so I could show you. But you really want to make sure you get this base attack because that's what your attack percent scales off of. So having her 6 star is really, really important because her attack buff scales on the amount of attack she has. So you need to have her max level to get as much of a buff for your other units as you can. Now, where can we use Dolores? The answer technically is everywhere. She is in my clan boss team. If we take a look, show you my NM3 team. She's just chilling down here somewhere. You can see she barely heals at all. Compared to Elwyn, she did a 1/7 of the healing that Elwyn did. But she's a huge contributor because she's buffing the damage of all the other units in my team. Same thing here. We got 31k, almost 32k on NM4. And she's right there in my team as well. So basically she's there. I put my Silas down first. I put her down second. Reason being she's got invigoration, so she gives him the invigoration buff every single fight. So I know that he's going to have that extra 10% attack, whether her attack buff is up or not. And then what I do is I also have Elwyn on invigoration, so I place Hex next, and then I try and get her to give the invigoration to Hex so that they both have it. But we're not here to talk about that. We're just talking about her. But in terms of clan boss, she is probably she's definitely the most valuable epic, but she's probably the most valuable unit and irreplaceable unit. You can substitute anybody else in this team except for her. She's the most important. In terms of other places, honestly, I use her all over the place. She's in my Gear Raid 1 team. She's there to buff my Comet and my my Virna. She's in my GR2 team. Although she's not in this. I think I was showing somebody something for this one, but I promise you she's in my team. I think somebody wanted to see, I think somebody was asking about stage 18, and I was just showing them. So generally, she takes this middle spot and buffs the Virna. So Virna goes in, Dolores comes in behind. We just wait, put up the buff. Well, not in this case, but basically Virna can't kill the waves on 21 without the attack buff. So I'll let this play really quick. We won't finish the whole run, but so she's down here at the bottom. We got Virna in the middle. We have Mari to slow everybody down. There goes the attack buff, and then she's supposed to pop everybody except my Virna missed a crit. So it failed, but you get the idea. It'll be the same thing here. We put 2 tanks down. We put the same 3 down in the same order. We wait for the Dolores attack buff to come, and then we do the same thing, but now my run is totally messed up, and it completely failed. That's fantastic. Good job, Virna. Is that 3 crits she missed? Probably the timing on the first one got messed up. Very nice. 98.5 crit, and she didn't kill 3 people. Fantastic. Anyway, that run normally works, but 1.5 times out of 100 it doesn't work. I could switch her, but I think I have this gear on her for GR1. Anyway. And then finally, my GR3 team. She's also in my GR3 team. Let's show you that real quick. I actually don't use her toward the end. A lot of people use her as the buff for Idril, but I'm actually using her for the buff for Calypso. You can see she's the second unit I put down. She buffs the Calypso. My Silas is really, really strong, so he can deal with the right without the attack buff. But the Dolores basically evens the playing field between Calypso and Silas, and they're able to deal with the boss pretty quickly here. Can't quite do it on stage 21 with a single ult, but when we get back around to the next set of ults, the boss dies pretty fast. And that's it. And now we're actually done with Dolores. I could pick up Elwyn here and move Dolores over and give the buff to Idril, but it quite frankly doesn't matter. It's a nice clean run. If you guys want more detail on these runs, you're more than welcome to check them out. I do videos on all of the different stages and going over them in detail and doing them on manual so you can see them a little bit slower and breaking down the stats and everything. But they are on the channel already if you want to check them out. But yeah, that is it for GR3. I also use her, honestly, I use her almost everywhere. I don't use her in every run, but I use her in Void Rift. I used her in Story, I think, for a few stages. I use her, I don't even know where else you could use her. I use her in Arena. She's one of the more popular units in single target Arena. I've actually seen her quite a bit in this rotation. If we take a look at Arena, see, we are currently ranked 35. I do have a bunch of arena videos out breaking down all the different modes as well. If we check my defense teams, she isn't in my anti-air team, but there are a lot of people using her in anti-air. She is in my AoE team. She is in my single target team. And then she's not in my sustained DPS team, but she definitely could be. If we take a look at hero rankings, which comes in at number 8 in anti-air, number 6 in AoE, number 3 in single target, and number 9 in sustained. So she's top 10 unit, and that is against all these legendaries and all these lords, and she still comes in the top 10 in all 4 different modes of arena. So if you're wondering whether or not you should summon for Dolores or if you should build Dolores, the answer is definitely yes. She's a must build. She will help you progress by leaps and bounds. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. The next video, again, is going to be on Zilla 2. I'm going to record that right now. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.